Hello, everyone. I'm Natalie Kunzman, MD, and it's been a little while, but I'm back, and today's topic is on quercetin, or as some people pronounce it, quercetin, and I don't think there's any specific way you need to pronounce it, but what is quercetin and why are we so excited about it right now? Well, quercetin is in a category of flavonoids that is typically found in our plants and uh, fruits and vegetables. And flavonoid actually comes from the Latin root flavus, which means yellow. So it is a yellow pigmented compound that is found within some of our foods that have some wonderful benefits. So quercetin has been used all throughout the years in Ayurvedic traditions, in Chinese medicine, in naturopathic medicine to work on inflammation, allergy symptoms, sometimes blood pressure related issues, and it even has some benefits in the cardiovascular system with lipid modulating properties in such a way that it may help with arterial clogging and atherosclerosis. So, overall, we would say that it maintains general health, but it also aids in improved exercise performance. So let's get back to the anti-inflammatory nature and the way it helps with the immune system. So in this cold and flu season and ways that we need to optimize our health, it is proposed to behave as an antihistamine. Okay, so histamine gets released from the mast cells. Okay, mast cells are some of the white blood cells that really get aggravated in an innate response and in a delayed response because there's a lot of cytokine release at some of the T cells and B cells and the degranulation and release of such things as histamine and tryptase and heparin related molecules when the body is in a full out attack. So if you can stabilize those mast cells and prevent that release of histamine, you're preventing the dilation of the capillary bed, you're preventing those inflammatory substances from getting into the tissue. And if there is a full release of histamine, you can get a lot of heat flushing and hypotension and some of those really annoying symptoms related to the immune system when it's in its fight. But we also are finding out that quercetin is doing a pretty darn good job at cutting down some of the inflammatory indicators such as IL-6 and TNF-alpha. Now, TNF-alpha and IL-6 are proposed to lead to some of the worst outcomes in the cytokine storm in the current virus we are battling. But don't forget, a lot of these mechanisms of action will happen with other viruses and other infections that we fight during cold and flu season. Now, sidebar, quercetin also has been proposed to have some great antioxidant properties, and in that regard, helps in the cancer battle. So, of course, we need a lot more robust studies for that, but we are using it in mice models and finding good results. Quercetin also can lower your risk for chronic brain disorders and Alzheimer's disease. And in that regard, you can imagine that quercetin is somewhat good at crossing the blood-brain barrier in helping with those conditions. So, where can we find quercetin? Well, obviously we can find capsules, and I will show you some of the strategies that I will use. But Probably one of the highest foods in this is capers and onions, and to a degree garlic and shallots. So a lot of you that cook with that on a consistent basis already are getting a lot of quercetin in your diet, and that's why it is so beneficial to help us all with our immune systems. Now, we find it a lot in the colored foods. Don't forget, flavonoid implies yellow in color. So we're going to find it in our red apples, tomatoes, and cherries. We're going to find it in kale and broccoli, and in a lot of our berries. So if you're going to supplement, it's pretty easy to find supplements that are anywhere from 250 milligrams, say capsules, or 500. And if you were in the throes of a battle, you may want to do anywhere from 250 twice a day to 500 twice a day, but that's a discussion that should be individualized based upon your conditions and your other medications and your other supplements. So it is a little difficult to get a lot of good absorption with the quercetin when you're getting it in a capsule formulation. And there is a proposal that it absorbs a little bit better when it's in a higher, fattier meal. And it also a lot of times will, say, float around in the bloodstream in one of its active glycosylated forms. So in other words, it has a little sugar moiety on the end of it, and that's what's floating through the bloodstream in the form of rutin. Okay, so quercetin, back to where you can adjunctively add it to some of your other vitamin strategies to optimize the immune system. Again, I have seen it used very nicely during an allergy condition, so because of its antihistamine properties. But don't forget, when we get into a second and a third stage of cytokine storm or late stage viral infections, we want to also contain that mast cell. The mast cell is unstable. It is continuing to depolarize, so we would like to put that back in its box, and quercetin is an excellent strategy to add to some of the other supplements in your regimen. So it works wonderfully with vitamin C, with vitamin D3. It is a potent adjunctive when you are using it with N-acetylcysteine, again, in an effort to help promote the liver detoxification. Again, N-acetylcysteine is a little bit difficult for absorption as well. Quercetin also works nicely synergistically with melatonin when it comes to the pulmonary or lung battle and release of mucus and cytokines and inflammatory debris. Again, trying to contain those mast cells in that particular area. The average person is pretty much getting a lot of this flavonoid in the diet. So even if you weren't thinking about it, typically a lot of us are getting anywhere from 10 to 100 milligrams per day. But again, when you want to ramp up, this is the time to start drinking your green tea and getting your berries and your apples and your broccoli, even red wine and coffee and capers. And I wanted to show you that there is an excellent medical nutraceutical web platform that I will refer my patients to, that I can trust some of those really high potency brands that have supplements in medical dosing strategies. So these are not allowed to be open to the general public and need to have a physician's supervision. But once you are in the clearinghouse, then you have access to some of these medical grade nutraceuticals. And that particular website is called Full Scripts. And as a sidebar, if you would like to consult with me so you can get into full scripts and, have your medical nutraceutical playground, for sure, you know how to find me. But one of my favorite companies that has robust research and robust third-party analyses with their product line is Orthomolecular, and they probably had no idea I'm giving a speech or a promotion for them, but they have an excellent product which is called Viracid. Okay, so Viracid has a lot of those viral nutraceuticals that will help with the battle, and this can be used with the quercetin. If you're also having a pulmonary component of a lot of excess mucus, they also have mucosagen, which will use some of that N-acetylcysteine and some of those herbs to break up the mucus. So we have mucosagen, we have Viracid, and then I will also show you the loose herbal teas that I typically have in my arsenal now, which will have such things as elderflower and mullein and marshmallow and stinging nettles, some neem and lemon balm and elderflower. These can be used wonderfully in your teas. The tea makers are very, very cheap to acquire, and that sometimes will do an equal job to what you are getting in a capsule. Now, I know we're trying to have a discussion on quercetin, and that is the main topic of the day, but the herbal strategy is nearly as good at keeping the immune system balanced for a wellness approach to keep your body well, as much as medications that are targeting the organism. So I believe you need a target of the organism as you're balancing your immune system. All right, everyone, I'm Natalie Kunzman, MD. Subscribe to my channel below, and until we meet again, be well.